looks like electric vehicles are starting to not look as good as they used to.
In August 2023, it took about twice as long to sell an EV in the US as it did the previous January. Gas-burning vehicles were still selling briskly. While slightly more than half of consumers say EVs are the future and will eventually replace combustion engines, less than a third of dealers say so.
You have a product that almost every automaker has hinged their future on. The government is really saying, look, we gotta go with electrification, but when the rubber meets the road, when people have to make that decision and a lot of money's involved, we're starting to see that that's starting to take a bit of a hit.
Tesla has slashed prices dramatically. Sales at some EV startups have disappointed, and companies like Ford have ramped up hybrid production as demand for their EVs has leveled off.
I think the reality is starting to hit for most people that electric cars are not the go-to vehicle. In fairness, there are some benefits to having an electric vehicle over gas. It's less money on your wallet when it's time to fuel up, especially in this economy. Many electric cars can accelerate faster than any gas car, and they're supposedly more environmentally friendly than gas. Emphasis on supposedly. I'll get to more on that later. You can't go anywhere near as far with an electric vehicle as you can with gas. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, most currently available electric vehicles have ranges between 110 and over 300 miles. Larger batteries and growing access to charging are increasingly addressing range anxiety or the fear of running out of charge. So once you address the range anxiety problem, you have another problem that's much worse. A while back, Gavin, Newsom, and the California Air Resources Board issued a rule that all new sold cars would have to be free of greenhouse gases by 2035, which means that there would be a massive uptick in electric vehicles, all because the government said so. The power grid will not be able to sustain the load. We've already seen what happened in Texas during February 2021 when they dealt with an insane winter storm. In a report by the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, the peak demand for the grid exceeded the energy supply by over 26,000 megawatts, over 2.5 times the assumed worst case in any SAR report scenario. The power grid was not prepared for the load, and 200 people died as a result. Just last year in California, their power grid was brought to the brink by a very hot summer. In this article by Politico, September 2022, the 10 days of triple-digit temperatures across the state this month sent power demand surging to a record level, bringing state regulators close to ordering rolling blackouts, potentially deadly move, and a political disaster. It was the realization of a nightmare scenario, a top state energy official said he's been considering for months. Oh my lord, we are in a very bad situation compared to even the worst case that we anticipated. Siva Gunda, vice chair of the California Energy Commission, said that he recalls thinking in the spring when supply chain delays and the tariff on solar imports, compounded by severe drought, started to look like a multi-year power crisis. Now, if everyone had an electric vehicle, how in the literal world will power grids cope with that? They won't. Rolling blackouts will become a regular part of life. And maybe that's the point. Newsom has no problem giving the government even more control over the free market with this rule. Now, the government has control over where and when you need to go anywhere. The demand for electricity will skyrocket while the supply will struggle to keep up. So prices will be much higher, and it doesn't help that electric vehicles already cost more than gas up front. And all of this is being done as a front for being more environmentally friendly. But is it really? Over 47% of California's electricity last year came from natural gas. If I recall correctly, methane is a pretty big emission from natural gas, and methane is an even stronger greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. This whole grandstanding about being environmentally friendly is a farce. This is really just another attempt at control by the government. We saw this on a much larger scale not too long ago with the forced lockdowns. Many state governments enacted that. Newsom would have more of an argument if the bulk of California's energy came from nuclear, but If you like what you heard, leave a like and subscribe. What do you think about all of this? Leave your comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.